It's been a little while since I made a video on the S2000. Actually, it's been a little while since I posted a video. I've made a couple of videos since the last one, but haven't posted anything. So this is really going to kind of be a catch-up video. So I mentioned last time that I was going to have a couple things done to it, and one of them that you're going to see is kind of the prep before the engine mounts. And so I just bought some engine mounts, and so there'll be a video on that, and then there will also be a video on a timing chain tensioner, and I actually did that myself. So one of the things, the couple of things that I was going to have done to it was to have someone put the engine mounts on. I didn't want to tackle that. I didn't want to raise the engine up or lift up the car and raise the engine up and support it. And so I had that done by somebody else, my normal mechanic, and so he did that. And one thing I'd always planned on doing was the rear brakes, and I just told him just to go ahead and replace the rear brakes. And so it has new brakes, you know, rotors, calipers, and also of course pads. So he did that, and I did the timing chain tensioner. So this video is going to be talking briefly about the engine mounts being installed, and also me putting in the timing chain tensioner. Then one thing that I didn't plan at the time, and I probably should have whenever the engine mounts were done, one thing I didn't plan was the changing out the transmission mounts, because that should have been done, and that actually got done this past week. So it made a world of difference. So there's going to be a video too about the after effect of that installation. So basically it's me driving the car and how big of a difference it made just having those transmission mounts done. So anyway, car's getting to a point where it's a nice driver quality car. You know, it's still got some paint issues. I actually have a rear view mirror there in the garage that I need to have, I need to put that in. I'm pretty sure I could do that myself. I've done it to my wife's van because both of those rear view mirrors got knocked off. So I've done that before. So as long as that interior panel is easy to get to, and I think you just got to cut that water barrier and to access the connector. But anyway, just wanted to give a prelude of what this video is about. So enjoy. All right, it is time to get to working on the S2000 again. I've had a lot of projects that have come up in the past few weeks, and so finally I'm able to get back to work on here. I mentioned in my previous video that I was going to have a couple of things done to it this week, and this is one of those. Part number 50810 S2A-003, which happens to be, let me get it out of here, engine mounts. That's had to go with OEM just because I wanted a stock feel to it. But that's what's going in this week. Hopefully not one, but first two. Hopefully cut down on some of the vibration that I'm experiencing, especially when you let off the throttle, let off the gas. Just get a vibration through the car, but nothing where it's not drivable, but could be fixed, I think. So I'm even more excited about what's next, and we're going to try and tackle that one ourselves. So really excited about getting this part installed on my car. As most will know, it's the timing chain tensioner, and it comes from Billman out of New York. It's remanufactured and supposedly one of the best, if not the best, timing chain tensioners out there. So, like I said, very excited to get this part put on the car. So that's what we're going to do next. So the timing chain tensioner is going to go in down below the VTEC solenoid, down here. And it's hard to see, but it's down below there. So it's going to go in. You've got to be able to access this bolt here, or not a bolt, it's a hex nut, I think. Got to get that off of there so that you can pull the pin. But first, we've got to get this airbox off so we can get access into the front. Looking forward to it to be done, so we shall see how it goes. Here you can see I bought a 8mm hex socket, and that's so I can fit it down into that opening right there, that nut right there. Not to be confused with that one. Just that one. Although that one is 8mm as well. Do not want to open that one. Also bought these needle nose pliers that have the angled tip on it so that we can reach in there once I get the bolt off, the hex nut off, and pull that pin out of the TCT once it's installed. All right, I've loosened up this nut here, and doesn't have very long threads on it, but it wasn't very tight at all. So I think the torque specs are something pretty minimal. So there it is. Put that in a safe spot. I don't know if you can see it, but there's the bolt right there, 10mm bolt for the TCT, and then the other one is down inside there, not the newer one, but the far one down there. So those are the two bolts that are going to hold it in. I don't need to take these two out right there. So there's only two things holding it in, so I'm gonna get that thing out of there. Here's the old TCT. It is now out. I didn't have any trouble. It just, when I unloosened this side, it was wanting to just fall right off. So hopefully this is the cause of the oil leak. Those seals have got to be pretty old in there. So, all right, let's get the new one installed. Got it in a plastic bag to ship it back to Bill Man himself, so it doesn't leak any oil out. But really, not a lot of oil came out of there. I'm a little surprised, but from what I understand, it was prone to leaking oil, but you pulled that thing out, but it didn't. So, all right, time to get the new one installed. All right, again, here is the old TCT that just came out, and here's the new one going in. So, gotta get that. The only problem might be with getting that pin out. It's a good thing I put that in a bag. Whenever I got it out of there, and almost immediately put it in the bag, and parts just started coming apart. So I had heard about that, but I found out that really does happen. So don't want to lose any parts, so that can be rebuilt. New one, old one. Right, the new TCT is in. There it is. You see the 2 bolts off on the side there. They've been tightened to where they're snug. Doesn't require a lot of torque. Now, the part I've been dreading is getting that pin out of there. So, without dropping it anyway. So, that's next. I didn't, you notice I didn't take my airbox completely off, but I unbolted it. So I got a little bit of room to work with. I didn't want to do the whole thing. I didn't want to disconnect everything. But hopefully I've got enough room to get that pin out of there. That's all I need. All right, it's out. I was afraid I was going to lose it somehow inside or mess up, but I didn't. There it is. So now I can just close up that maintenance hole and should be good to go. So I believe I'm done here. Everything's cleaned up. So kind of doing a checklist in my head. Timing chain tensioner is on. I've tightened the bolts down for the TCT. The plug is back in for the maintenance hole. And I've kind of got those connections back on the back of the airbox. I didn't do anything else I can think of. The bolts are in for the airbox and tighten down. There's one over there on the other side you can't see. So I believe we're all good. We're done. Just gotta put the negative battery cable back on, and I think I'm good to go. I didn't get the start up, but it started right up. Hopefully it sounds better. Sounds pretty good. Just picked up my car from having transmission mounts replaced on it. There's a lot of wind noise as I got the windows down, but I am just amazed at how much better it shifts and how much better it drives. Those transmission mounts have gotten rid of almost all of that vibration that I was experiencing before. It was so much more difficult to drive because it was so hard to shift. Now with the new mounts in there, it just shifts so much easier, so much cleaner, and is just a lot more fun to drive. I can't believe how much different it is of driving it versus having those old rotten transmission mounts on there. I'm sure they're the original ones from the factory, and 170, almost 178,000 miles on it, so I'm sure those were the original ones. But between the engine mounts replaced and the transmission mounts, it makes a world of difference. That is definitely money well worth spent. So it wants to rev, and
There was so much vibration in the cabin before whenever I would rev it up that it's just not there anymore. So it's so much nicer to drive. It's fun now.